Cody is a pretty small town, and we're trying to keep it a thriving town. And so one thing, we were looking for a hole in the community, like what could this community need?
It was thrown around as a joke. Oh, you know, our town needs a store. We don't have a store.
There hadn't been a grocery store here for a decade, and I live in the country, so it just hadn't really crossed my mind.
And then the teachers threw it around kind of, you know, jokingly at a teacher meeting when they were throwing around ideas for how to fix up Cody.
We were talking about people that we knew that were interested in coming to our school system, but a lot of them said that if they have to go out of town to get groceries, they may as well go to take their students to school there because it'd just be easier. And so we kind of just joked around and said, well, I guess the first thing we're going to have to do is build a grocery store. And then we laughed, looked at each other and said, oh yeah, we really maybe should build a grocery store.
That's one of the prime components of a successful community is a bank, a school, a grocery store, a post office, and we need one. And then I remember reading in People magazine that Arthur, Nebraska did a student-run grocery store. And I thought, well, if Arthur can do it, we can do it. And we were just laughing about it and thought, oh, I don't know if that would ever work.
And a lot of people thought they were crazy. I'm sure a lot of people still do.
We don't allow youth customarily into positions that the adults are customarily in. And if you want your youth to stay in your community, to participate in your community, you know, you've got to let them be in those positions to make those kind of decisions.
The land that the grocery store sits on is actually owned by Nebraska Game and Parks, and they were a little hesitant to let us use this land because this was an ideal location for us.
Game and Parks don't typically rent property on the Cowboy Trail.
We fought for at least a year to try to get that land to build on. The key process in that was taking the youth to Lincoln to meet the Game and Parks. And I think that was probably the tipping point.
4 other students and I went down to Lincoln and went in front of the head board of Nebraska Game and Parks and kind of told them our story.
The adults sort of just backed out of it because this is a student project. They need to know how to present it. And I think people listen more if the students that are involved are presenting rather than the adults.
Got a 99-year lease signed on this land, so it was pretty exciting stuff. I was in 7th grade. It was a little nerve-wracking.
We built the grocery store out of straw bales.
The technique actually originated here in the Sandhills over a century ago. Some of the early settlers used straw bales to construct their homes and buildings with.
There is the frame, and then you stick, rather than insulation, you stick straw bales, and then you go on the outside and you take stucco.
It was a long process building the store, but you just kind of felt it. Like every day, you know, you'd come down here and there'd be a couple people and be like, oh, I'm not doing anything, I'll go work on the store. You could just feel it. You're like, oh, this is just amazing.
One day I said to a little gal, I said, can you believe we built a grocery store? And she just giggled. But then she came to me the next day and she said, I was walking through the aisles and I stopped and I went, oh, we built a grocery store. We can do anything.
The adults are here to supervise and help when needed, but we do it all.
And I ended up getting saddled with the job of produce coordinator, which is kind of a big title for a little person, but I do the ordering, the stocking, the cleaning. I take care of pretty much, if it's produce, it's my job. I hang out with lettuce and pears all day.
I'm in charge of all the bank reconciliations. When I grow up, I want to be a CPA. And so I feel like this reconciliation stuff is kind of showing me part of that.
We live in Entrepreneur Central. I run my own cows right now, so I kind of have my own cattle business, I guess you could say, started.
How old are you?
I am 16.
You're 16, you have your own cattle business.
Yes, I do. Yeah.